they're charging us like a fee or something, and I just want to see.
I don't. Yeah, but we probably have it, I'm sure, somewhere.
I discussed it with our
I don't know what your opinion is. We should look up. No, I didn't say that.
How to get rid of my vision.
I bet. But he'll
Ashley.
no, Jim, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't. And I'm not blaming him.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
we're getting charged.
Oh, Brittany found, I think Press sent the letters out on getting that money from the town.
Yeah, I saw she copied it. Correspondence.
Yeah. So they're going to see. Look at that.
Let's see.
We just need to see. Do you guys have another extension for Branch?
No. Yeah, it's weighted down. All I can think of is I know there's an outlet in there.
Well, what do we do? I just hope there's enough power in their laptop. Is their laptop on, you know?
Their laptop's on.
Can you see the indicator?
No.
Okay.
Get out of the way.
Okay, it is 10 o'clock and we will call to order the first Houston County Administrative Meeting of the new year that we hope is better than the last year, but I saw a post this morning that said 7-day trial is the new year is anything like what the rest is, we want to send it back. We're going to hope it gets better. Glad all of you are here. We got a big crowd this morning, got a couple of exciting things to talk about, but I want to make a couple of comments before we started. You know, they say timing is everything, and I think that certainly is the case today, and I think it's appropriate that in light of the events in Washington yesterday that we publicly display today our new logo and the nation's motto that we have installed over the holidays. You can see it behind us. Today of all days, I think, as all of us in this great nation we live in take pause and that we should all take our nation's motto to heart. I saw a similar display like this down at Panama City Beach Council meeting I went to, and my good friend, I have a good friend that's the mayor down there and used to live up here, and it really kind of struck home with me, and frankly, I'm honored to serve with 4 gentlemen who are willing to support and endorse the idea of having "In God We Trust" proudly displayed alongside our nation's flag and our state flag, and so that all of our deliberations and decisions and dealings with the public will be held under that motto from this point forward and in front of that flag. At this time in our nation's history, and frankly, even here locally, I think we all need to pause and think about the attitude we approach each other with, and take stock of our relationships and what ourselves and our work is really about, what it should be about. We need to relearn to be nice to each other and live in harmony, and remember what's important in this world we share. You all that know me know I'm as strong a Republican as there is, and certainly have supported President Trump. But what went on in Washington yesterday is not okay. What has gone on, frankly, in this building in recent weeks and months is not okay. Hopefully displaying this national motto will at least help us here in this room, and the actions we take reflect how we should treat our fellow man and remember what is important. I want to thank Sean. Is Sean here? I want to thank him and his staff for doing an excellent job and working to get this displayed, and hopefully all of our citizens will be proud of what we've done, and I know all of you. I'm sorry Doug is not here today. He doesn't have COVID, but he has been exposed, so we told him to please stay home. All four of you, you know, we are honored as representing the citizens to have you for serving in the positions you do, and I thank you for allowing us to do that. The other thing, we obviously are continuing this month to operate in our with our COVID procedures in place. Frankly, we've been hoping for months now to go back to normal, but you know, we have said this month we won't, but you've all seen the stories and articles from the hospitals. COVID not only is getting worse, but it's the worst it's been since it's come out. Our hospital, particularly the Southeast Health, it's still the medical center, is at a critical state right now. So we implore, encourage, beg all of you to continue to do the things that you've been asked to do. I don't like wearing this mask. I know you don't, but don't do it for yourselves. Do it for the people around you. Do it for your family. Do it for your friends, because this virus is rampant right now. We ask you to wear your mask and to sanitize and to not gather in large crowds and to do the things that you're being asked, because it is a serious, serious thing. And we hope you'll all get vaccinated. I know there's a lot of discussion about that. As soon as it's available to us, I've talked to all the commissioners, and all of us, I think, are planning to, unless something's changed. But we just encourage you to all be diligent. And again, back to my original comment, unfortunately, we are going to have to continue to operate under our COVID restrictions, which means only individuals who have items on the agenda, along with media and whatnot, will be allowed into our commission chambers during meetings. It is on Zoom, and you can, we publish the agenda, and we certainly take comments that we will make public and as needed, but we'll do that this meeting and the next meeting in January. And I wish I could say I felt like February would be any different, but frankly, I don't feel like February will be any different. We'll announce that, at our next meeting. But please be safe out there and take care of yourself. People are really sick. I could name some people, but I won't, that have in this room that have been stricken by it. So take care of yourself. It's a serious, serious thing. So. All right. Any other comments from the commission or announcements? I couldn't think of any. Hanging on fire today. Okay. All right. Moving on to the agenda then. We've got a couple of things under awards and presentations. The first is a presentation, an update really, from Kim Meeker on our multi-use trail study update. Kim has been working diligently, I think, and just wants to give us has it been about 6 months since he's started? 6 months, not quite 6 months, but give us an update here at the first of the year about the work he's done on the trails, and I think he'll have some pretty positive news to talk to you all about. But I want to put that on make a presentation about that, and then also have a presentation from Engineer Kirkland regarding the Rebuild Alabama annual report that is required by law that our engineer give us that at the first meeting of every calendar year. and we will have that as a PowerPoint presentation on Monday, if there is no objection to adding both of those items to the agenda. Okay. On the regular agenda, the first item is a request to approve in-kind work for Alabama Youth Centers in Dothan. We are honored today to have Mr. Izell Reese, the president and general manager of this project, with us. I'm going to let Commissioner Harvey, who knows Mr. Reese, I think, and has been out to the site, and can talk a minute, introduce him, and we're going to ask you to come to this podium right there and pull that mic up. And he's got several guests with him, but we're going to ask Izell to talk. And other side. Go around the other side.
Okay. Got it.
And you can introduce those folks here, other than Mr. Mendham. We know him. Any comments?
Yeah, we're certainly excited about Mr. Reese coming back home. Go way back with him. We were a small church, about 30 people. To see him at very humble beginnings and giving back to his community and pushing this Alabama Youth Center, which is going to employ sports, recreation, education, and arts, and also health and wellness in our community, giving our youth a sense of responsibility and sensibility about what is going on and what a more definite time than now. I cannot help but even think about yesterday morning. I'm sorry, I got to piggyback on a little bit. It was such a mockery. It was embarrassing. It does not matter whether you are Republican or Democrat or independent. There is something that is called moral diplomacy. And to see our president pass, what I call him, push a movement like that could have been real bad. I think about it and I almost tear up. I think about so many people that have paved the way for us to get to where we are. And it showed yesterday just how far behind that we really are. And I hope it's saying that. I hope that we will continue to pray for each other, lift each other up, push each other in a forward mobile position. Certainly thank Brother Reese for reaching out to Houston County, to Dothan, this area, giving back to our youth. Thank Mr. Eric Easley for his push, Mr. David Mosley, and certainly Mr. Cliff Mendham. I hope all of us will push this endeavor. With that being said, without further ado, introduce Mr. Reese.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll start by saying it's good to be home. And thank you for your time. And I appreciate this moment to present to you a little bit about the Youth Center. But more importantly, I'm excited to be here as always because this is home. So to come home in the community I grew up in, to see familiar faces, friends, former teammates like Cliff Mendenhall that I played with at Northview when Northview was there. So we'll put that one to the side. But it's good to be here. And the people like David Mosley, Eric Easley, who has been on me for about 10 years about, man, come on back. We need you. And so I've done things here in the past. But one of the things that was important, especially now, given the comments that you all have made, it's even more important to do more things that are sustainable for the kids in this community. Because of all of the successes that I went through, it wouldn't have happened without this community. It is one of the proudest things that I've been able to share around the country. When I was drafted to the NFL by the Cowboys and all the things that I do now, to say I'm just an old country boy from Dothan, that matters to me. And I say that in a certain way because it's always been passionate, and I knew I represented our community and the people of this community and what we stand for in the role that I was positioned in. So even more importantly, having said that, there is no prouder moment than having this opportunity to oversee the Grandview facility and what I'm looking to do and what I will present to you here today, and the opportunity of hopefully getting some in-kind help with that facility, because this is for our community and the surrounding areas and something that is state of the art and unlike anything in the U.S. that will be right here in Dothan, Alabama. So as I said, and I'll jump right in, and by all means, feel free to interrupt and ask questions if you have it. The Grandview Elementary School will be converted into the Alabama Youth Center. This is a new nonprofit that I've set up, and I will serve as founder. And the goal of the Alabama Youth Center is to be set up as a community development corporation, focused on sports participation, health and wellness, as well as educational programming for our youth. And so there are some unique things, given my body of work, that I'll touch on as well, that is what's going to comprise and make this youth center unlike anything else. So just to focus a little bit on it, some of the programming areas, as I spoke to sports and recreation, educational arts, and health and wellness. You can see just some of the sports, and this is just a sampling of some of the programs that I want to incorporate within this youth center. And the youth center will be for all ages in terms of youth. So anywhere from kids from 8 to 18 will be able to utilize this center and also draw kids from a broader community. This will be focused on the entire county as well as surrounding counties in the Wiregrass area. In addition to that, it will also lend itself to opportunities through youth sports and programming to attract youth from other states and around the country for certain events that will create economic impact, as well as create job opportunities by being able to facilitate the programming that takes place within this center. And just to touch a little bit on my career when I hung up my cleats, if you will, I had a long and prosperous career in the NFL. But as I said, my work after the NFL is what I'm most proudest of because I've been able to impact thousands of lives around the country of youth athletes. And I've been able to represent some of the biggest brands in sports. And this page is a sampling of that. I've had the opportunity to work now with the NFL for a number of years, as well as the NBA, and now with the NHL that will be starting this year and driving their participation in youth sports entities. I've also had the opportunities to work with the NCAA, the NAIA, and NJCAA at the collegiate level, also driving youth initiatives and properly educating youth athletes on what it takes to become a collegiate student athlete. In addition to that, I've worked with Adidas and a sea of other major apparel and sporting brands throughout the country. And so that has been my body of work for the last 15 years. So I say all that to say, this is what I'm also utilizing and what really makes this unique in terms of what I want to incorporate within that youth center, coupled with educational programming, as well as health and wellness initiatives, as I mentioned earlier. This is one thing that I also want to just touch on, that youth center and its centers, plural, because this will not be the first one. I've worked extensively with the city of Birmingham for a number of years in their city council. And so I am looking at potentially down the road, starting a youth center in Birmingham and spreading this throughout the state of Alabama, hence the name Alabama Youth Centers. But the hub will always be Dothan. This will be the first one. This is where it will start. And this will serve as headquarters as youth centers spread throughout the state as we move forward. And some of the programs within that I want to start with, call it phase one, because it will take some time, similar to what you all mentioned with COVID. It will take some time before I do certain things interior in the school system for the health and well-being of those kids. But flag football and NFL flag, which I'll touch on briefly, we can focus on certain things outside. Flag football is being played now, similar to tackle in some locations in some states, because it is low to moderate risk in terms of how it's viewed by the CDC in terms of COVID guidelines. So flag football is something that I really see as a phenomenal opportunity to bring here. It is the largest program that I oversee. 500,000 kids participate, 1,500 leagues within the U.S. It's the largest flag football league operation in the country. Kids have the opportunities to bear the trademarks of the NFL, the Cowboys, the Broncos, if you will, and I completely oversee that program. So by me being the one placing a facility like this at Grandview and in the county and in Dothan, it will definitely be a nationwide draw as I create different programming initiatives, not only for the community, but to also draw in different initiatives through tournaments, league play in the surrounding Wiregrass area and beyond. And this is renderings. So one of the things that I could definitely utilize your help and services with is that property sits on about 9 acres. 5 of those acres sit behind the school, and that's why I want to intend to build out fields. And this is a rendering of how I'm looking at that field, and this would be the first ever NFL flag football facility in the country. Flag football, as big as it is, it's typically played on soccer fields and the outfields of baseball. It's like trying to find a place to play. And unfortunately, in all of youth sports, that's always a challenge and a difficult thing so there's always a need to put more facilities and giving youth athletes the opportunity to participate. But by this being the first and not the last, there's going to be a draw for people to want to see that field, for people to want to see that facility, for people to want to participate on that field. And so this is a great opportunity to put this in Dothan, and we'll get nationwide attention and even attention from the NFL and PR around Houston County, the city of Dothan, if this field is located at that facility, which we intend to do. And I do have one quick rendering, so you can see that as well. Thank you. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take any. But again, thank you for the time, and thank you for any type of in-kind to facilitate and help with this facility. Because as I said before, it is a nonprofit. It is for the community, and so I'm proud to be able to do this in my hometown and for the future of this county, which is our youth.
Thank you very much. That's an exciting project, and I think just having you coming home with the expertise, connections, and the things you've done in your career is exciting for our community. I think you probably need to come home. I don't know where you live now, but you need to live in Houston County. We can make that happen.
I need you to help me work with my wife with that. I like the thought of that.
We can do that. We can do that. I got both. We'll get together. A couple of questions, and then we'll open up to the commission and all. I know you met with Commissioner Harvey and our engineer and looked at the site. So basically what you're requesting is that we grade the site and do a little site work. Is that correct? And engineer Kirkland is nodding in the affirmative. I don't think it's a major ordeal, is it not, Commissioner?
It's probably 3 to 4 weeks of grade work.
3 to 4 weeks of grade work. Pull that up. I hate to get in. 3 to 4 weeks of grade work. Okay. What is the timing? Because I know we are slammed right now. So what is your time?
The fall. So
Okay,
I
so
would,
sometime between now and the fall.
between now and the fall, correct.
That gives us flexibility. Okay. And you saw it.
Because I think the only thing that we might have an issue with later on something to do with it was parking. And I know we talked about transportation, one of the things that I mentioned to Barclay was I know we hit the county law was like right not too far from the old county law.
Park.
Yeah, the park. Okay. Just something to think about. I don't know what we're gonna do with that. I just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, we'll talk to the city about that. All right, the other question, come around the microphone, not you, Bobby.
Excuse me.
So one of the things, we can only do work if it's a public entity owns the property. So if my understanding is correct, you're leasing the property from the city on a temporary basis before you actually own it. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
So the city will actually own the property.
The city will own the property for extended period of time. Say year and a half is what we've discussed.
Only
Yes.
thing I care about is that they own the property while we do the work. So-
Yes, yes, they own the property.
Okay, as long as that's the case, then we don't have any problem. So, okay, that's all the questions I have. Any commissioners, y'all got any comments or questions regarding this? Yes, sir. Commissioner Hugh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I just want to say thank you for bringing this opportunity to Dothan and Houston County. We've been talking about recreation here lately, and I think it really fits into what we're looking to do. So I love it when individual citizens stand up and make their community better, and not necessarily rely on some government official to do that. So thank you, I applaud that. The only question I have is how many fields are we going to be doing? Is this single field or is this multiple fields?
It'll be multiple fields for that. So leveling that entire, I guess back, I know the engineer saw it. And in addition, and the reason being is it would allow for multiple gameplay, which will give the opportunity for tournament play. So you need multiple fields in the effort to bring in more teams. As I alluded to, the economic impact. So that will be a draw to get more teams in for a tournament play.
And you need to be open in the fall? You need to be.
Yes, the intention is to kick off football season and NFL flag in the fall. I will note that NFL flag is a year-round program. So kids play year-round, which is excellent. So they will always be able to use that facility and not just in the fall.
That's all the questions.
That's why you didn't tell us you needed it next week. It was interesting to me, and other questions from commissioners, but it was interesting that was a 100-yard field. I didn't know flag football was 100-yard event.
It is not, and I'm glad you bring that up. NFL flag is 5-on-5. So it's all the fun parts of the game. Everybody gets to be a receiver and you got a quarterback, and kids really love it. It's a great way for them to start to learn the game. And essentially in a 100-yard football field, to give you reference, you can put 3 fields within a 100-yard football field. So that being said, that space is almost big enough for 2 to 3 football fields. So I say all that to say if it's completely graded, you can have some very large scale size tournaments there.
I was wondering. That's a lot of area for flag football. I mean, don't like me. All right, any other questions, Mr. Harry?
I'm just excited. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is awesome. Such a good project. We will put that on the agenda. I don't know that there's any reason for you to be back here Monday. I don't know if Wyndham or any crews planning to be here Monday, but we will put it on the agenda. I think we've got all the questions answered, and feel like we will approve this work. If any questions come up, we'll be in touch. But otherwise, we will, unless I hear objections, we will move it forward to the agenda on Monday, and vote to authorize the work or not.
Thank you, and happy to come back Monday if need be.
Yeah, you might see any reason for all them to come back Monday. I mean, I'm always thinking COVIDian and all that stuff. I mean, I just don't see any reason why we all would come back. Have to go through it. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
will
Thank
add
you
that
all
to
for
the-
your time.
Thank you. No objections. We will add that to the agenda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to introduce and tell them, I mean, I know David does some work in the community already.
Yes.
Both of them,
Yes, I will. David Mosley, who owns David's Performance Factory and trains about 3,000 athletes, youth, and he will be
yeah. And Opie.
He will be very integral. I mean, and it's important. I want to use him as an example of a young man who's from Dothan as well, and from this county, who is definitely a success story. And when I saw what he was doing with kids, those are the type of people that need to be utilized within this center and to help expand what he's already doing. And when he and I connected, he wanted to do and utilize his services for and what he's doing within his building, also for kids within that community and in underserved communities, so that they can have the opportunity to get his services as well. So, so he, phenomenal guy. Glad to have him on board. I got my first round draft pick, if you will. And then Eric Easley. I can't harp on him enough in terms of I would see Eric all over the country, in Texas and different places where he was driving youth and trying to give them opportunities with different properties that I oversaw, and we would always connect and always figure out what can we do this long sustaining in Dothan. And he said, I think I got something for you. Come on down, I want to show it to you. And that's how we got here. So I think that's important to say as well. And then I got me and Cliff, I've started to reconnect with Cliff, a teammate of mine from high school, a great individual, and now having him and get the opportunity to connect with him as well, and you all. is very important again. And then that's what's going to really lead to the success of this youth center.
You got a good team. Cliff helped with a little legal work too. And David, I started going to David and promised him 2 months to make me look like him.
You can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
All right. So let you, if y'all wanna get all your stuff and exit, we will let you. We'll make you stay around for the rest.
Thank you. Thank you. There's other piece that.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Let me think. All right, we will move on. If y'all will quietly move out, that'd be great. Thank you very much. All right, the next item on the agenda is a request to approve a budget amendment for EMA Pass-Through Grant 20 FIL. This says Peter and EMA Director is here. Which of you is going to talk to? Both of them.
This is, I think,
Where do you go?
director stepped out for a moment.
Tell Chris he's up.
So this is a regular recurring sort of pass-through grant that comes out of the EMA.
Normal and customary?
Normal and customary.
Okay. Any comments from you? Okay.
We actually, that had already been approved a while back. We're just doing the pass-through part of the financial.
This is the budget part?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We gotta do a better job, and it's my fault, because I forget to put it, of making the budget amendment part when they approve it.
I think in the past, it had been done, not done, been done, not done.
Yeah.
And because it's really, seriously just a pass through.
Yeah.
The money never comes out of the account. It's just passed from the state to you, to the entity.
Well, if Peter and Jackie, if you'll help me remember when we had things to the agenda that are monetary, if we just on the end of the budget, end of the agenda item, if we're just put in budget amendment, that it handles all this.
And I have to apologize too, on the state side, the entire Homeland Security Office, to include the director, has left. They are about 9 months behind on everything and completely have new people there. So that causes us to be behind. So we don't know what we have or when we have it. I've got an entire audit of that next week. I'll get that to you, Mr. Bigelow. So for the last year, we haven't been able to tell you, we have 5 budgets this year. Grants or whatever. Hopefully this next year that'll change. But that's on a state level, not local.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any objection to adding that to the agenda? Hearing none, we will. All right, item number 3 is a request to approve budget amendment for Poly Inc. Change order for solid waste disposal project with the industrial partners. Is the very same thing. We approved this at last meeting. This did not approve the project, just not the budget amendment. So I need to approve that. No objection to adding that. All right, item number 4. Item number 4 is a request to eliminate 3 positions in dispatch. The Rafferty is coming to explain what we're doing, and if necessary, I'll explain why we're only approving this part. Go ahead.
Yes. What we're asking for the Sheriff Department is to eliminate 3 positions for the communication center. But with that elimination of the 3 slots, using the salaries of those 3 slots to raise the pay for the current dispatchers in the slots that we do have available. You know, Dothan did a big raise, and it's hard to get employees to come to work in communications when they apply to the city of Dothan, making $2 to $4 an hour more starting out. Met with the sheriff. I think the sheriff may have met with some of you. We've met with Ms. Sherry. We've looked at this, and by eliminating the 3 slots and doing the, Sherry did the pay study, and with the increase in salaries for dispatch or communications, we would come in $7,385 under the total cost of of eliminating those 3 slots. But with that 7,300, I'm not asking to do away with that. I would like to keep that in the budget or move it over to overtime.
All right, typically, if there's no money involved in the budget, we don't approve it, but when there are positions involved, we do always approve it. As you all know, personnel sets salaries, so we don't really have much to say with that. I just told them that we prefer not to add any money to the budget, so this was the solution, was to increase the salaries, and by eliminating positions, we are covering the increased cost of increasing the salaries to compete, honestly, with what we're running into. So does that make y'all understand?
And also, we've not been able to fill these slots for the last number of 3 to 5 years.
Correct. Okay, any questions for Major Rafferty? Personnel has signed off on this. Obviously, the sheriff's department, they're making a request. All right, any objections to adding this to the agenda? No objection. All right, thank you, sir. All right, item number, well, are you handling the next thing? Item number 5, request to remove from the table and approve agreement for housing municipal inmates in the Houston County Jail. If you'll remember, last meeting, we tabled till time certain, being this meeting, the municipal inmate agreement that we've been working on. There were a couple of questions, and I think those have been resolved. And before you, the approved contract, there was a little confusion, I think, not you, but with some of the commission that this had anything at all to do with the city of Douglas. It was not. This is. Am I wrong?
No, this is.
Okay, I thought you were being.
No.
This is with the municipalities outside of those that we serve.
We house their area.
Any questions regarding this? What we'll have to have is a motion to remove this from the table for consideration, approve that, and then a motion to approve this document. Any questions about it? No. Okay. All right, so let's add that to the agenda. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, item number 6 is a request to remove from the table the policy regarding audio and video recording within county-owned property and table until future meeting. Sounds complicated, but again, we table this item until time specific, this coming up meeting. We are not ready. We're still working on that policy. We're not ready to have that on the agenda. So what we want to do is remove it from the table as we voted to do, but then retable it, if that makes sense. That's a word, retable. Table it again until and if we decide to do so. My only commentary would be, I think in light of events in Washington yesterday, I hope you all see that, there are certain things that public properties have to be protected. You can't just open up everything to everybody, and you need a policy. Certainly not this meeting. This meeting is open to the public and should always be, but but we're not ready to do that, so we want to table it again until we are ready and be sure legal, constitutional, everything that all I've heard from everybody about. Any questions regarding that? Any objection to adding that to the agenda? Item number 7, request to sell the following on gov deals: assorted office items from probate, assorted shop items from Road and Bridge, 2005 Ford Explorer, and 2007 Chevy Impala from EMA. Pretty good. That's not the black one, is it? We just sold that, didn't we? That's the car. I thought we sold that like last week. I'll ask him on that.
It's sitting at the shop.
Huh?
It's sitting at the shop.
I thought we voted, that's the car that,
We voted to sell an Impala. I don't know if it was that one or
okay, but I think we've already voted to sell that, but I'll ask him. Doesn't matter, we can double sell it. Any objection to adding that to the agenda? All right, anything from the commission to be considered for the agenda? Or any comments, discussion, questions from the commission? All right, then we will see all of you on. Yes, sir. No, sir. I will bring those up if I have. Thank you for reminding me. We'll see you on Monday.
Oh, man.
What we playing at? Yeah, I hate that. I really want to talk about it. I think that makes I didn't know store. Are the new salaries in here? I think they are. Yes. Yeah, this is on the sheet right here. Here's you guys. Yeah, you did know here. That's what the horse. Now to go out and straight dollars. Morning, sir. How are you?